Hi, welcome back, everybody. We're about to hop into our first adventure of the evening, which I have entitled Family Feudal. But before we do so, as always, we are going to take a brief moment to introduce our characters. We have a fun kind of group tonight. This has been a while since this has happened, but we have four brand new characters, all level 1 in one game. So this has been a while since there've been no veteran characters. So I'm excited to get to meet all of you. So without further ado, Maglev Konzist. Am I saying that right? Is it Maglev? Maglev?
Maglev Konzist.
Maglev Konzist. Now, Maglev, tell us a little bit about yourself. What brings you to the land of DnDTime?
Well, I am a colorblind specialist. I take people all across land.
You take people all across the... What was it you said?
Land.
Ah, yes. What was it specifically that made you kind of wanted to adventure among Bartholomew's adventuring troupe, though?
Why, my trainer in most greatest role to be, Kurogan.
Ah, yes. You are, of course, a member of his training program, Kuro Gaines.
Of course.
Yes. And have you been seeing any kind of results following his fairly strict training regimens?
Oh, I mean, look at these pecs. They are massive.
Yes, I mean, now that you say that, yes, your pecs are indeed. I mean, I would use the word that you're swole. Now, Maglev, I think it's pretty safe to bet, based on your impressive physique. But what kind of moves do you do? What is your skill set that you're bringing to the table?
I am a storm sorcerer, and I like to cast fist.
I will have to wait and see this sorcery in action. I'm looking forward to it for certain. Maglev, welcome with us tonight.
Yes.
Now, next up, we have a character here, Tzi'jixk. Tzi'jixk, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Tzi'jixk. Now, you were recently brought back from the dead. I know that you had been dead for quite some time, at the behest of a dear friend of yours, correct?
Yes, Zuzip and I, we played together when we were younger, but that was a very long time ago. She's been holding a bit of a candle for me, I suppose.
I don't know if I would say that I feel like I know you, but I've certainly heard of you quite a bit from Zuzip. I know that Zuzip considers you a very close friend. But how do you feel? It must be very nice to be given this kind of second lease on life.
It's intimidating. There was nothingness, but there was also a voice, and it was difficult to understand. And then suddenly I heard that man in blue's voice, and I was pulled away from the other one, and I woke up, and there that man in blue was Bartholomew, and it was just it's all a lot, and I have to sort it all out.
And what was this other voice that you're referring to?
I'm not certain, though. It invigorated me. It did something. There's a purpose that I've been brought back from having been. I can't talk about it. It's still too new, despite it being years and years old.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to bring up any wounds. But of course, now that you're adventuring, you must have some skill set. What abilities do you have, Tzi'jixk, that are going to make you effective as an adventurer?
Oh, well, we bunny folk love to look at things and nibble very cutely, and then we might also, we being the singular we, I guess that would be me. Um, you know, you might realize that the couple dollars you had in your pocket isn't there anymore if you check.
Wait.
Dun dun dun.
Tzi'jixk, give that back right now.
Here you go.
How could you, Tzi'jixk? I have to say, that was very smooth. Um, but please don't steal from me again. That's, well,
I must
aside
say,
from the obvious, I'm sure you already know the moral implications. But I can't.
Yes,
Yes.
it
Just make
was an
sure.
invitation I took, but I assure you, I would only ever steal from the people who deserve it.
Well, that is perhaps ominous, but good to hear, Tzi'jixk. I will trust your judgment. And welcome tonight.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Professor Dingleheimmel. Professor Dingleheimmel, welcome.
greetings and salutations.
Um, Professor, you are, of course, a Trigognome, if I'm not mistaken, yes?
Indeed.
Now, would you care to tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Well, according to this, I am being classified as a wizard. I really hate these stupid classifications. I prefer to be called a scientist of the highest degree.
You are, of course. I mean, I know that Trigonomes are renowned for their scientists, but you obviously are even, one of the top among them. Dingleheimmel, what made you want to join up and pursue science amongst Bartholomew's adventuring troupe?
I wish to simply search the lands for even more knowledge and share it along with everyone, except the math goblins, because I hate them.
That is, I think, a very common opinion amongst the Trigonomes, and also a fairly noble goal to kind of share and spread information with everyone but the math goblins. Now, Dingleheimmel, what kind of abilities do you possess? Do you have any things that you have invented?
Of course, I have them all in my book, and I call it Hex Tech Technology. I've combined magic and technology to create wonderful abilities.
Uh,
I bet I could surpass Bartholomew with these one day.
well, I'll certainly look forward to seeing it, and perhaps we'll see a few of those inventions come out over the course of our adventure here. Professor,
Indeed.
would you prefer to be referred to just simply Professor or Dingleheimmel?
Either is fine.
Very well, Professor. Thank you very much. And last but not least, as I said before, we have all brand new characters. We have Stelinar, the Wood Elf Ranger. Stelinar, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well.
Excellent. Stelinar, would you care to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Very traumatized elf is all I can say.
Very traumatized elf. That sounds a little bit mysterious. Now, what made you want to kind of join in with Bartholomew's adventuring troupe?
So I can get experience and train to kill the thing that traumatized me.
I mean, it sounds like you have you've already said it pretty plainly that you have a bit of a troubled past here, and you're trying to train and learn. In what field are you training? What is your particular? Well, it sounds like you're training in combat. What's your weapon of choice?
Preferably the bow, but I'm good in melee combat as well.
Um, and Stelinar, what is your appearance? What do you look like, Stelinar?
Out of character for a moment. That picture that I have of did I put it on there right?
Yeah, well, just so everyone can kind of hear it, because I don't think everyone in the group can see it. Just like what kind of looks do you have? Do you have like long hair? I know you're a wood elf, of course.
Right now, he's just in like regular clothes, just a normal shirt, pants, nothing special. Has his bow on his back and his quiver with 2 sword scabbards on either hip.
Excellent. Well, Stelinar, welcome, and well, I hope you're able to gain some valuable experience in tonight's adventure, which I think, without further ado, it is time to begin. So, the 4 of you, of course, you are adventurers in Bartholomew's adventuring troupe, and Bartholomew has sent you to Central City, where a new game show has recently been initiated, a show that's being called Family Feudal. And as part of their promotion, they're having some kind of more exciting guests for their first couple of for their first couple of games that they're running. And in this instance, they're having you, Bartholomew's, some adventurers from Bartholomew's adventuring troupe, and as well as some adventurers from another kind of rival competing adventuring troupe. And where we begin in proper, the four of you are standing in kind of a staging area before you're about to go on live for this particular game show. You can see people all kind of you can see people all kind of like milling about, setting up, lighting, and getting all of the various like props and things that they have planned for this show ready. You can see the star of the show. It looks like they are the host, and they're sitting in like a very kind of fine chair, ordering different food and kind of being waited on a little bit before it's time for them to go on. They're a kind of a strange looking winged creature. They have like wings instead of arms, and kind of like clawed feet, but they're wearing a nice suit, and they have kind of a big mustache on their humanoid head, and the four of you are in just kind of like a small kind of corner of this backroom staging area, and next to you is your contractor for this particular adventure, Bartholomew himself, who looks over the four of you. Greetings, adventurers. I'm glad that you were able to make it. I know that this is I know that this is a bit strange, so to speak. However, I'm going to need you to take part in this game show. Now, in order to make sure that our reputation continues to be that of the most powerful adventuring troupe, we need to be certain that we are not defeated here on this rather minor field. Now, all of the major adventuring troops in the land of D&D-Time, we have already put out of business. But there are some independent contractors. Well, it's hard to put down every single competitor, and apparently they're a family of adventurers. As such, only families are allowed to compete in this show. So, for the record, we're related. We're all related. Is that fair? Can you handle that?
Indeed.
I will not be participating, of course, but the four of you, I don't know if you want to figure out what your familial relationships are before you go on. I think you only have a few minutes before the game show starts. But I will leave that to you. But the prize, of course, is going to be 20,000 copper. I know that is a pittance to most adventurers. If you win it, you can keep it, you can give it to me, do what you want with it. But if you win, I will also be paying you 100 Bartholomew bucks each. So please keep that in mind. They're going to be calling you soon. Make sure you figure out, like I said, how you are related, and I'm going to be out in the audience spectating for this particular event. Yes. Best of luck. And he kind of smiles at you and nods and goes to walk away. Do you guys have anything to like say to him, or are you just going to let him turn?
Thank you, Bartholomew. I won't fail you.
Indeed.
I have no doubt.
I won't fail you, Bartholomew. My knowledge will surely win this competition.
Yes, I'm not sure how important knowledge is in this game, but we'll have to wait and see. And he goes and kind of steps away. And yeah, you can see there's a woman that's kind of keeping track and making sure that everything is like running on schedule. And it looks like you guys have about like 5 minutes before you're just thrown out onto the stage. There's someone that kind of walks up in front of you. You see a young half orc man come up to you. Are you guys ready for makeup?
Makeup?
Yeah, makeup.
I do not wear makeup.
All right, well, you're going to need at least a little bit of blush. It makes you show up a lot better on stage. A little bit of eyeliner. We just want to make those eyes pop. It's going to take a couple of minutes.
I pretty much make my eyes glow. Is this pop enough for you?
Actually, that's actually really good. How did you do that? Is that like a mascara that you're using there? And you just kind of like did it on command. Like, is it like if you raise your eyebrows or something?
I prefer not to say.
I mean, trade secrets. I get it. Any of the rest of you though, you are gonna need some makeup. And he
That's
goes around.
fine.
And he starts, just applying some cosmetics while you guys are getting ready. What else are you doing as you're about to be thrust out onto the family feudal stage?
I simply come out in my glorious hairstyle.
Yes, of course. I'm picturing sort of a wild yellow mane that's like frazzled up above you, almost like a brain. Is that fair to say, Professor Dingleheimmel?
Yes, you could say that's an accurate description.
Excellent. What about you, Stelinar?
So like we only have 5 minutes.
Yeah, you get 5 minutes or so before we're about to go up on stage.
What he's going to do with this 5 minutes is he's going to, you're all going to notice he's been carrying a chest. And he is going to put that down on the floor. And he is going to take out a broken sword. And he's going to slit his hand over the lock of the chest. It's going to glow and it's going to unlock. And GM,
Oh, wow.
he's gonna put on his just the clothing that he had inside the chest over his like clothes that he has now, and
Okay.
place a feather cap on his head.
Excellent. Yeah, you watch as Stelinar kind of goes through this bit of a kind of a pre-show ritual that he does here, where he puts on this new outfit and the feather cap, and as the guy who's doing makeup, did you get those from costumes? What? He looks at you, Stelinar.
He's just gonna like raise an eyebrow and he's gonna go, "You're a very odd man."
I'm just doing my job, Jesus. And he kind of continues. He continues kind of going about his business as he's now doing some of your makeup now, Professor Dingleheimmel. The time clicks down, and you see the woman that's kind of in charge over. That's been directing all of the stage management kind of looks over at you. We're going to be on in about 30 seconds. Are you all ready to go?
Indeedy, yes, indeedy.
At this time, can I like kind of start whispering using message to like each of the allies to tell them like how I'm going to refer to them?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so like the first message is pretty much like I'll be Uncle twice removed. I'm talking this to Dingleheimer and like you be Grandpa. And then to the bunny folks, like you are cousin twice removed.
A lot of removals in this family, it seems like.
Yeah,
I have many cousins. It's possible. By the way, I would have been spending the 5 minutes completely casing this, looking for entrances, exits,
Yeah,
any
absolutely.
like trapdoors in the stage, looking around, seeing if there's anything particularly valuable.
Also, I'll also say to the Stelinar, like it says, and your cousin once removed.
Two cousins, an uncle, two cousins, an uncle, and a grandfather. It sounds like you're going with.
Yeah.
It's the functional family feud.
Yeah, fair enough. And as you're kind of looking around the place, Tzi'jixk, go ahead and make me a perception check. All right, 13. So as you're kind of casing the joint, you're noticing on the stage there are definitely you can't really tell what they are as you're just looking in the distance, but on the stage there are some various kind of grooves and segments in the stage where it looks like things are designed to like come out, and not necessarily trap doors, but there's definitely some like mechanisms within it. Additionally, as you're looking up top, you can see up above the stage, there is a huge kind of glass jar that looks like it's filled to the brim with copper. You don't know why it's kind of set up there, but it looks like that is the prize money, all 20,000 copper, that is going to be given as the prize that you heard about for this particular game show. So
Noted. Thank
those
you.
are the kind of two things you notice. Yeah. And that woman kind of comes over. All right, let's go. You're on stage. You're gonna curl around and move behind the podium on your. And she kind of points up to it. Yeah, and the stage is set up such that you can see behind you. There's a big tag on the wall that says, the Bartholomew family. And then on the opposite wall, you can see a big tag that says the Durgle family. And you guys are kind of escorted out onto the stage, and the stage is very bright. You can see that this is being kind of done in front of a pretty large audience, in kind of a theater, so to speak, as it looks like this show isn't being broadcast. It's just kind of like a live theatrical performance, in a sense, on this game show that different people can kind of participate in. And you guys are kind of put into your places, and you're kind of motioned to quiet down as the show's going to be starting soon, and then the stage suddenly just kind of lights up with illusions and various dancing lights and all sorts of kind of magical theatrical effects, as the bright kind of flashing lights appear around the stage and behind you, and from seemingly nowhere, just some very kind of like upbeat and very happy music begins to play, and you see kind of walking out from the stage, that's host that you saw kind of sitting in the chair before, this like kind of odd winged creature, steps out onto the stage with kind of like a big wave, and you hear just a big kind of like round of applause come from the audience and some cheers and screams as he hops up. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Family Feudal. I'm your host, Steve Harpy, and I'm here to make sure we got two families that are going to battle it out for a chance to win. And you hear the whole crowd kind of call out, 20,000 copper! 20,000 copper, that's right. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and meet our two great families that we got today. And he steps over first to the left. What order are you guys in? Who's kind of at the front of the pack here?
Can I be on the front? And is there like a stool? Because I'm on the short side.
Yeah, they already had kind of like a stool out and prepared for you. So
Good.
you're up on a stool.
I want to be out first.
Because over here on my right we have the Bartholomew family. And he walks over to you. We have Heimel. I'm sorry, not sure how to pronounce that name.
It's
We have
Dingleheimer.
Dingleheimmel. Great. Now, Dingleheimmel, would you care to introduce your family?
Yes. Let's see. We have myself. We have Maglev, Tzi'jixk, and Stelinar.
Oh, great. There's another kind of round of applause from the audience. And he looks at you. Do you think you have what it takes to win the 20,000 copper tonight?
Yes, indeed. I think I will make the wise decisions here.
I chuckle, but he does not. Great. I'm sure it's going to be a great battle, but unfortunately, if you want to win that 20,000 copper, you're going to have to take it right away. And he looks over across to the other side from the Durgle family. And he, another round of applause happens, and he steps over to the other side. He goes, all right. And you are, of course, Shirley Durgle. And you see they're all halflings, and they're all kind of wearing matching leather armor. And as he kind of walks over to Shirley Durgle, she just kind of goes, "Yes, I'm Shirley Durgle, and we're the Durgles. This is my lovely husband, Vern Durgle. Here we have Marty Durgle," and you see they all kind of wave and smile as their gesture. "And here we have our beautiful daughter, Diane Durgle." And they all kind of laugh and cheer, but they're also, like I said, they're all wearing leather armor, and you see most of them have like weapons strapped to their bodies. And Steve Harpy, asks them a few questions, kind of, plays up a few jokes around the crowd, but then he kind of gets to it. gets into it and he goes, all right, great. We have the Bartholomews and the Durgles are going to be battling head to head to answer some of our questions. Now, for anyone unfamiliar, the way Family Feudal works is we're going to ask you a question that we've surveyed 100 people for, and you have to guess what you think the most common responses to that question were from the 100 people we've already asked it. So, without further ado, and yeah, so what's your kind of marching order in total is it's Dingleheimmel first, right? And then after that, it is who?
Who would like to go after me?
I'll go.
I'll go after the bunny.
And then Stelinar. Excellent. And all right. In that case, they kind of. He goes, give me Dingleheimmel, give me Shirley. And the two of you kind of walk up to the center stage, and there is what look like two buttons. And Steve Harpy looks over at you. All right, now we're going to need you to buzz in as soon as you think you know the right answer. And this will determine whether you get to go first or go second, or, with a chance to steal. Now, he begins to ask his first question. Now, we surveyed 100 peasants. Which monster would you least like to lay waste to your civilization? Would you like to go ahead and roll initiative to see if you are able to outbuzz the Durgles? Oh no!
Right.
All right, yeah, you see Shirley Durgle kind of slams her hand down on the buzzer almost instantly with the speed of what appears to be her roguelike and halfling agility kind of kicking in, slams the hand on the buzzer, and he just kind of looks over and goes, Shirley, and she goes, perhaps a giant, Steve. And he goes, so show me giant, and he points up at the board. Behind him, you can see there's like a big illusion with like 6 blank spots on it. And then as he says, show me giant, one of them alights with a big number 21, the second one on the list. But there's still a higher one up. As Steve Harpy looks back towards you, Dingleheimer. And he goes, all right, if you can get a better one, you can still earn the point order.
I say the undead.
He goes, you call out the undead, and he kind of points up at the board and goes, show me undead! And you hear another ding! And another one kind of flips over, but it's unfortunately 2 down below yours. As it flips up for 5 points, it says Lich/undead. And you hear as each one kind of happens, the crowd call out, Lich! Undead! And he goes, oh, unfortunately, the Durgles will be taking the first round. And he kind of goes over to the Durgles and begins kind of asking them questions. And they're working their way through. And and you see the first two contestants. It goes next to Vern Durgle, who completely misses with a terrible answer about just bears. And then the next one, it goes to Marty Durgle, who kind of thinks for a while, and he goes, I don't know, maybe some kind of monster. And Steve Harpy kind of like casually makes fun of him a little bit, and he gets X'd out. The next one guesses. The next one as it gets to Diane Durgle. She goes, I wouldn't like my village to be attacked by a dragon, and that pops up as the number 1 answer. And then it gets back around to Shirley Durgle, who kind of guesses out of nowhere, kind of calls out, Steve, I'm gonna say an orc. And that kind of pops up on the screen. They got 2 X's, and then as it gets back around to Vern Durgle, he completely whips it again. Right now on the board, there are dragons, goblins, undead, and orcs, but there are 2 left as they get their kind of 3 X's, and they move back around to you. While this has been going on, you guys have been kind of briefed on the rules that if you get one more chance to try and steal it back, if you want to take another kind of stab at it. So what do you guys kind of discuss and come up with as a collective answer to try and steal? You got 2 slots left.
Well, well, what do you guys think? I think the beholder or a demon.
I would vote demon as well.
Very well. That's what I'll tell.
I haven't heard of demons, but I know that Zuzip talked about a bunch of goblins recently trying to take over the city. Maybe if the people polled here were from there, they wouldn't like goblins either.
Have you
Yeah,
thought
but
of monstrosities?
goblins are already on the board.
Blink, blink.
Yeah, you saw someone guess just kind of general monsters on the other side, and he got X'd out.
I think I know. I think I know what to do. I know what to do, and I'll look ready and with anticipation.
All right, yeah, that's and at this point the exact they have to get their third X kind of that sound kind of comes up on the screen, and then Steve Harpy walks over. All right, Bartholomew family, you have a chance to steal. We asked 100 peasants which monster would you least like to lay waste to your civilization, and he leans in towards you, Dingleheimmel.
I would hate to have my village be ruined by a demon from the underworld.
He looks up the board. Show me demon from the underworld. And you hear kind of a, and the board kind of has another huge X on it, and he goes, "Oh, sorry, I thought that was a good answer too." And he goes through the last two, and you see the things that kind of come up are just one person apparently said owl bears, and then the last one, big one, was actually goblins. And it was kind of a 9-point goblins, and then you see a big number appear next to the Durgle family's name, as they in that round had earned quick math, 80 or 92 points, or sorry, total of 90 points exactly. And yeah, the Durgles have taken an early lead in this, as yeah.
I'm sorry, fellas. I'm sorry that I disappointed you all.
And yeah, the next one up, I believe was our Bunnyfolk. Yes, Tzi'jixk.
Yeah, that's me.
All right. In that case, he goes, "All right, give me CGs and give me Vern." The two of you kind of hop up over towards the. Or you hop up specifically, and he kind of walks over towards the button, waddling. Vern's kind of a very large halfling, and he goes, Steve Harpy looks at the two of you. He goes, "All right, our next question. We asked 100 married commoners. Name one way your spouse is like a knight." Do you want to try and buzz in?
Yeah, initiative.
Yep, roll initiative. Ooh! Oh, wait. That's a D20 plus 2, though, as I wrote at, but it's supposed to be plus 2. That's a 21. They actually got out ahead of you. And he kind of, these people, their hands, it's like they've been training for this their whole lives, the Durgles. He slaps on the buzzer, and he kind of goes, I was... And he kind of looks back over at his wife, and he said, I would say my wife is very strong, like a knight, Steve. And Steve goes, "Show me strong." It comes up on the board, and bing, for 10 points. But there's two better answers, it would seem, after strong. And so Steve looks over towards you again. What would you like to do? What would you like to say? Tzi'jixk.
I'm gonna look back to the family, look out to the crowd. I've been brought back to life, and the spotlights are on, and there's pressure asking about societal norms. They're, you can trust them. You can trust them.
All right. He goes, "All right, show me trustworthy." And you see, he kind of points up at the board, and you see the second one actually. It comes up as loyal on the board, and you hear the Durgles, some of the Durgles kind of mumble a little bit under their breath at it, and he goes, "Loyal, excellent. Very well. The turn is yours. Do you want to go or play? Do you want to pass or play?" He looks at you.
I like playing. I have a lot of memories of me playing.
Excellent. And Steve Harpy walks over now towards the next one in line, who I believe is
Maglev.
Maglev. And he looks at you, Maglev. We asked 100 married commoners. Name one way your significant other is much like a knight.
I would say always there for you.
Always there for. All right. And he kind of points up the board. Always there for you. And you just hear kind of an X comes up, and he goes, "Oh, sorry, tough break." And he moves next down in line towards you, Stelinar, and he goes, "We asked 100 married commoners. Name one way your significant other is much like a knight."
Inspirational.
You say inspirational, and he kind of looks up at the board again, and he goes, "Show me inspirational," and then another kind of pause, and then another kind of X again, and you guys have now 2 X's as we move back to the top of the line. Dingleheimmel.
If I had to say something, if my spouse was like a knight, I'd say they'd have to be pretty brave to face any danger.
Yeah, and as you kind of call out, brave, he goes, "Oh, good answer. I bet it's gonna be up there." And he points up at the board. "Show me brave," and bing, the number 1 answer pops up. And there are only kind of 3 left on the board as we move.
My hands happily.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of cheering from the crowd and so forth as we move back around to you, Tzi'jixk.
Oh, I'd have to say that they're willing to sacrifice themselves, maybe their things.
He looks at you. We're gonna need you to be a little bit more specific on that one, and he kind of leans in.
Oh, they're willing to give things up for you. There's the word in common is selfless. In bunny language we call it.
And he kind of looks at you. "All right, show me selfless." He points up at the board, and bing. You see it kind of pop up in the 4th slot, and the crowd kind of calls out, "Selfless, kind," as it kind of shows up with 2 words on this one. Excellent. Moves now back on to the next one. You got 2 more answers left up on the board. We asked 100 married commoners. Name one way your significant other is much like a knight, and looks once again towards you, Maglev.
Okay, this is getting hard because being there for you, which is supportive, was not up there. So,
Yeah.
Much like a knight. So I would say, what is a good thing?
And at this point,
defend. They'll defend you.
nice save. And as you kind of call out, defend. The Steve Harvey kind of or Steve Harpy, I'm sorry, kind of looks up in the board and goes, "Show me they'll defend you," and the board kind of lights up again. You hear another bing, and the word protective flips over. So the audience kind of calls out protective, and at this point you see something kind of all of a sudden lights up on the board as this happens, though, and you start hearing kind of sirens going off as you get the word protective, and Steve Harvey goes, "Oh, looks like that was one of our harder answers, which means it's time for our first timely triple," and the entire stage seems to flip around and shift a little bit, and you see the board kind of moves around such that the illusion projects just the word kind of protective out in front of you, and he looks to the group of you now and he goes, "It's time for one of our timely triples, a chance to completely secure the round and gain triple the points for it. But we're going to ask you, or we're going to make a statement, and then we'll ask you to answer it in the form of a question. And it looks like the category for this particular question is going to be and at the top of it, right above it, it just says protective monsters. And underneath it, you see the statement comes up. We're going to put 10 seconds on the clock. And the statement that appears before you is, this large golem creature is covered in shields and various thick pieces of armor.
Can I chime in? I know what this is.
He's actually currently looking at Maglev for the answer, but you guys can all confer.
Oh yeah, in that case, okay, in that case,
tell him Iron Golem.
Oh.
Maglev like singing goes, Shield Guardian.
Yeah. You have to say it in the form of a question.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you too late. You call it out, and you go, Shield Guardian, and he goes, Shield Guardian is correct, but unfortunately you do have to answer in the form of a question, so that is going to be a disqualified answer. But you got protective up on the board, and there's only one left. And he looks now as he moves past towards, as he moves past towards you. Stelinar. So, Stelinar, he looks, we asked 100 married commoners, name one way your significant other is much like a knight.
Honorable.
Kind of looks up at the board, you call out, show me honorable. Great answer. And the board kind of X's out again. Looks like there were no spaces left. There's only one spot left, and that was not it. And he goes, all right, Durgle family, you have a chance to steal. And he kind of walks over to the other side, and the Durgle family, the Durgle family with the last one, and he kind of points up at the board, and you see the last one, it's just like two people, and the sign just says big sword, and the audience kind of gets a chuckle, and the Durgles all kind of like laugh and kind of like nudge each other, and you Steve Starby go, oh, a little bit risque for my taste, but he kind of chuckles and waves it off, and you guys get a big chunk of points. You guys actually end up with 98 points, and he goes, because that was round 2, we're going to go ahead and double them, and he points over at your points, and you just go up all of a sudden to 196 points. And he goes, and in here in round 3, points will be triple. Since you both got points on the board, either of you will have the opportunity to take it all in the final round. And he moves next. Who's next up to bat? I think it's you, Maglev, that's hopping up. All right, Maglev, you kind of hop up onto the stage, and he says, all right, now, for our next question here, we asked 100 fighters, what piece of equipment would you most want by your side on a quest if you could only bring one? Oh. And the Durgle's lightning reflexes, because they still have the +2, still kick in again, and they get the first one. Whoop. And pretty good answer from Marty Durgle here, but not the best one. As Marty Durgle kind of slams, your armor, Steve, and I kind of puts up, show me armor. Second one on the board pops up, and he looks over to you for a chance to steal.
I'll say big weapon.
He goes, all right, another big weapon. Points up at the board, show me a weapon. And the top is just says sword, weapon, as you take the number 1 slot again for 33 and then 32 points on the armor. And he moves it kind of back over to the other side as it gets to the next initiative, which is going to be you, Stelinar.
I think Stelinar might need the question again.
Oh yes, of course. We asked 100 fighters, which piece of equipment would you most want by your side on a quest if you could only bring one?
Your mount.
He goes, all right, show me mount. Points up at the board. Bing! It comes up 11 points. The second to the last one there. Very good, very good. And he moves around to the top of the kind of lineup here. All right, Dingleheimmel. You got 2 left on the board. We asked 100 fighters, which piece of equipment would you most want by your side on a quest if you could only bring one?
All of those on the board seem admirable, but if I can't have a sword and I can't have armor, then I best have a shield.
I'll say this: the armor, when it was armor up on the board, it says armor/shield already.
Okay, then
Which I forgot to tell you, but yeah. And as you're here, kind of like thinking a little bit, he goes. You kind of hear
I'd
like
say
an X kind of pops up in front of you, kind of cutting you off for like time limit. And he goes, "Oh, looks like we got a first time out. But would you? Which means your team is going to use one of their 3 lifelines." And he looks now at you, Heimel. Which lifeline would you like to use? You have the 50-50, the phone a friend, or the ask the audience.
Can I phone a friend?
All right, we'll get him on the horn right now. Yeah, because of course they already kind of set up your phone a friend for you in advance. And all of a sudden, you just hear over like, just over the ambiance, you just hear like, just the sound effect of like a ringing sound, like a bell chiming in, and then you hear kind of like, hello.
Greetings.
Steve Harpy kind of goes, you're Bartholomew, I take it, and now we are here with your friends, and they're on the precipice of winning quite a bit of money, but they're having trouble with one of these questions. Would you like to proffer an answer for them? You'll have 30 seconds to talk it over with your friend here. We asked 100 fighters, which piece of equipment would you most want by your side on a quest if you could only bring one? And Bartholomew goes, oh, yes, yes, very good. And the kind of a 30-second timer begins kind of clicking down in the space.
Just letting you know, Sir Bartholomew, sword, armor, and mount are up there.
That is good to know. Allow me to think for a moment. I don't know. If I could only bring one thing, it would be my, perhaps one of my magic items, my bag, but I guess that's not everyone. What about, you have to have a food or a drink, perhaps ale?
Yes, I concur. I think that will be a great answer. I say the answer is a decent meal.
Very good. And Bartholomew kind of cuts out, and he points up at the board. A meal! And as he kind of points up, it just says, food, beer, which kind of pops up there. And there's only one left. And it's going to move us next on to... it was Tzi'jixk next. Tzi'jixk, looks at you. What piece of equipment would you most want on your at your side on a quest if you could only bring one?
Well, I've been told about some very important things, and I'll have to say that my good friend Zuzip gave me a rope made from several of her desiccated forms, and so it means a lot to me. And so I think I'm going to say rope. Rope's important, especially if it's made from your friends.
And he goes, all right, for the game, show me rope! And you hear, ding! And it lights up, and once again, at this point, the kind of like the game show music begins to play a lot again, and your point total just zips all the way up from 196 as you completely sweep the board up to, 496. And Steve Harvey kind of claps, and there's another big round of applause as the target goal you're looking for. It was 300. And he goes, all right, the Bartholomew family has completely swept the board. Now that they've kind of taken out the Durgles, they'll have a chance at, getting 20,000 copper. And the audience says it once again along with him, as they move into our bonus stage, which we call Central City Ninja Fighter. And from underneath, you begin to hear this incredible grating sound, and the stage begins to like move and kind of part and separate at the various points that you saw it kind of get set up at, where you saw those like seams in it before, Maddie. And as it does, you see what looks like an elaborate obstacle course begin to just kind of like appear out of the ground from this like elaborate mechanism that they've created. And he goes, Of course, as always in Family Feudal, you're gonna have the Durgle family will still have the opportunity to steal. If they're able to prevent you from completing the obstacle course, they'll get to come back next week. But if you complete the obstacle course and the Durgles aren't able to stop you, you'll be invited back next week if you want, and you'll also win 20,000 copper! And yeah, you're just looking at like this monstrosity of like metal and all of these like various kind of like hanging kind of pieces, and like odd like contraptions. There's a lot of like water that looks like it's at the bottom of it as the stage is kind of like parted to reveal the space. And in the kind of like the water below, a lot of the like a lot of the things that you have to like jump on look like they've been like greased up a little bit. And the kind of point that you're looking for, it looks like there's a button on top of this odd, almost mountain-like pile of like various like metal contraptions and stuff that are hanging around for you to like climb up and through. And Steve Harpy kind of walks you over to the start of it, and he goes, "You're going to begin on my buzzer right now." And you hear kind of a bing to go, and you watch as the Durgles all just kind of get a hardness in their eye and pull out their swords. You guys are at the start of this obstacle course. What do you all do?
Can I make a history check on the course to see if there's anything of particular interest?
History check?
Or investigation check?
Investigation check would be more appropriate. Yeah, for sure.
Be insider investigation.
I just
Oh my god!
My inquisitive goggles never fail me.
You were also gonna. I'll get to that in just a second, Max. You were also gonna ask me something, Maglev.
Yes, I was pretty much gonna ask, like, what is the closest obstacle and what does like look like?
Yeah. So I'm gonna get to kind of like describing some of the individuals in just a sec.
Can I roll Arcana to see if there's anything magical about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
all
for
right.
crap's sake!
There's no magic here. You determined just constructions. There wasn't anything magical even in the magical process by which it came into being. I mean, seeing Dingleheimmel, it's all probably just, mechanics and science.
These gnomes are too good!
Yeah, exactly. And as you're looking over Dingleheimmel, your mind begins to reel as you analyze the thing before you. It looks like there's 3 kind of major obstacles in front of you. It looks like from the starting gate where you guys are, there are a bunch of kind of like rounded. There are a bunch of like rounded kind of spheres that are on almost springs that move back and forth that you have to jump across that look like they would be very difficult to move on. The next section, it looks like there's like an overhead kind of like swing that you have to go down where you have to like hold onto a metal bar and like use it to like jump up and move on these kind of like parallel lines, sliding down them like a minecart track. And then it looks like there's like an elaborate vertical climb going upwards. But what you also begin to notice that uses all various kind of like different pieces of metal and kind of hooks and stuff that you have to move yourself upward through. It looks like a fairly difficult athletic challenge here. As you're looking at it, though, you also see that there are a lot of like really, for one thing, different kind of magical runes and stuff that are in different places around this course that you're able to identify. They look like they're activated to be like they're like intended as traps that might kind of be triggered for when you go on different ones. In particular, the first one that you notice is on the 3rd of the 3 kind of like big circular balloon like rubber things that are here in the first obstacle, and then right in the middle of that last section with the climb, there's another one of those kind of symbols. So you kind of investigate that there are definitely like danger points there, so you have to be careful.
I hypothesize that there are magical traps in this, so be careful. And I will try to support you all because I am not of athletic capability.
And yeah, only one of you has to reach the top and kind of hit the button in order to win. And you see that the Durgles now are kind of setting up along. They also have kind of a section that's made just for them, where there's a bunch of like scaffolding, so they're able to kind of like freely move around the maze, around the obstacle course, and try to like jump onto it from like the side and just stop you guys from completing it. Roll for initiative. As you take all this in at once. There's a lot to describe there. The
like
Durgle's
the fact-
initiatives have been consistently impressive, and they continue to be so. You just need one. Oh, excellent. All right, so the first one to act, though, for the first time, the Durgles do not go first, as you spring into action, Tzi'jixk.
This reminds me of the Trash Kingdom. The piles and the piles of everything there.
Don't worry, just get through it. It's an obstacle course. It's not that problematic.
The first obstacle you said were some metal spheres kind of rolling around on top of spring.
Yeah, well, they're kind of like made rubber on the top, so they're not going to kill you, and it's water at the bottom. But yeah, they're kind of like bumbling around.
Okay. And you said that there's a scaffolding that goes throughout this like area.
Yeah, and as you're kind of going through, though, Steve Harpy is kind of like explaining the rules to the audience, and it sounds like hopping on the Durgle's scaffolding is like grounds for a disqualification.
Oh,
also,
gotcha.
if you fall into the water once, you also disqualify. So you can do it if you want to like play defense, but you'd be out of the running for the button.
Okay. Then. Is there anything that's not the opponent's scaffolding that is hanging above these spheres?
No.
Yeah, some of the course is very vertical because it's all on this like theatrical stage that's kind of been, it's very tall, but I mean there's only so much room before the ceiling happens. Yeah, like right up above you is like the next section basically.
Okay, is there enough room where I would be able to take my whip it around a piece of legal scaffolding and just swing over the water and ball pit?
Yeah, some of the scaffolding, you could definitely kind of whip onto it. It would not be trivial to make this kind of leap over like the whole section, but you can like wrap around it and definitely go for it and try and avoid it. So yeah, go ahead and make me I'll let you pick acrobatics or athletics.
While he's doing that, GM, question, were any rules stated for this? Like, no killing, or...?
No, there weren't.
Oh.
The Durgles have produced knives, all of them. 17 athletics check. All right, you begin kind of whipping over onto the other side, and as you do, you kind of kick off, and yeah, you just barely manage to land, completely subverting this first obstacle on the other side. Now before you, there's lateral bars where they have like the bar that you can like slide down them like a rail.
So it's still on me, or are we going to someone else?
And that's going to be an action to like use the whip and like get it up around the thing and then jump. It's gonna be like a full action.
Okay.
So that is going to be the Durgles next. And as you get over the other side, two of the Durgles run up and kind of come at you with knives. One of them, Vern Durgle, kind of like stumbles a little bit, and it takes him a little bit longer to get to you. But you see the daughter, Diane Durgle, runs up to you and goes to just stab right at you. Diane Durgle is right here. And is going to use her Durgle stab. That's an 18.
That hits.
For 4 points of piercing damage. Vern is not there yet, so she does not have a sneak attack at the moment, but it could have been very bad. You feel just an intense, intense pain as this, very real combat situation is now happening before you, and this elicits a lot of cheers from the audience. That is all for all of the Durgles. The other two Durgles are running along the scaffolding, and they're now on either side of the kind of first obstacle here, the first kind of like bumbling balloon, getting ready to stop anyone who goes up onto that, which brings us next initiative to Maglev. Wait, I'm sorry, no, it was Stelinar next. Stelinar.
I'm just going to, the one that just stabbed him?
Yes.
I'm going to take a shot.
All right, go ahead and fire away.
Stance.
18 definitely hits.
Oh, damage.
Yep. 4 piercing damage. All right. Diane Durgle takes a longbow arrow right to the shoulder. It strikes into her, and she kind of, oh no, kind of calls out in pain. Yeah, she's not quite downed, but she does not look like she's enjoying having an arrow in her shoulder. Anything else on your turn? Do you want to start
playing
moving
defensive?
Or are you gonna you're just gonna stay at the starting line? All right.
Yeah, honestly, I'm the one person here with a bow.
Fair enough. makes sense to me. That's gonna bring us now to Maglev.
All right. So, how far is it to the next level?
There are kind of 3 sections that are each 10 feet across. Is like the length of the jump for like the little ball. So if you make 3 perfect jumps, it would all be would all be just in one. Maddie was able to do it a little bit better because he's a Bunnyfolk and has an insane jump distance.
Could I use the Tendrils magic right before I use a first level? There we go, right there. So Tendrils magic.
Yeah, so you can just, with that, get a whole free section. You can just, like, completely skip one of them.
I'll do that and attempt to land right between the Durgles, if possible.
Alright, so you're gonna, which one do you want to try and skip? The first, second, or third one? You still will have to, like, jump onto the first 2 kind of bumbling kind of stepping stones.
I think I'll choose a second.
All right, so you're gonna you jump to the first one. Go ahead and make me as you land on it, you see these things have been kind of like greased up to make them slippery. Go ahead and make me a dex saving throw. It's not a super high DC.
All right, 1 second. Is it athletics?
This is a dex save.
Oh,
Dex saving throw.
Yep, that's plenty. You kind of go on it, and you find yourself beginning to fall, and you catch it, and you skip the next one. So you go to jump, and right as you do, and you're casting. Which spell are you casting?
I'll be casting. 1 second. Chaos Fist.
Oh my god. Actually, who are you casting it at?
Let's see, the unhurt Durgle.
The unhurt Durgle. 13 actually misses that. Oh no, I'm sorry. A 13 just barely hits that Durgle. My apologies. Yeah. So you fire your Chaos Fist. Go ahead. What type of damage?
Yeah, I'm shooting thunder damage.
I don't think you pick though, do you? Or that's just what it is? Oh, it's of the 2. Yeah, I'm with you. So yeah, you throw your Chaos Fist as you punch the air. You all see as this kind of odd swirling ball of energy hits, and as it strikes Vern Durgle, he just dies. You watch as Vern Durgle just kind of calls out, "Oh no!" Collapses down next to you. Tzi'jixk brutal.
I know how to fist!
Anything else on your turn? Or actually, no, you skip, so you jump and skip over the second one with your magic and you land on the third one. I need you to make me a higher DC dex save this time.
Okay.
Oh no. This time, as you land on the third one, you catch your balance, and then to your side from a piece of scaffolding, one of those arcane runes that I had described previously to Dingleheimmel, there we go. So many new names. Alights, and you watch as out of the side of it, all of a sudden a spring-loaded boxing glove flies out to the side and just kind of hits you in the cheek. You take 4 points of bludgeoning damage, but more importantly, you are knocked back 10 feet. You would be pushed to the ground. You get to make 1 more dex save to try and save yourself, or otherwise you're DQ'd, although you can still battle the Durgles. Oh, you just barely catch yourself. You're like hugging the side of the big kind of rubber circular platform that you were standing on, and you're there like clenching for dear life with your incredible muscles.
I want to say, like, after you get punches, That is not how you fist. I'll show how you fist next time.
Nice. And that's gonna bring us to the last initiative, Dingleheimmel.
What a very odd set of variables. I do, and the fact that murder is on this game show terrifies me. So I will do something different. I'm going to look at who was the one that stabbed Who's the one that stabbed?
Oh, Diane Durgle?
Yeah, I look at Diane Durgle like, face my latest invention! And then I fire a literal rocket at him.
Oh, jeez. Good. Oh, God, roll damage.
And if they die, I'd rather them fall into the freaking water and actually live.
Well, you do reduce them to 0 as you hit the firebolt, and as it hits, I'll give you that. As it hits Diane Durgle, she kind of calls out, "Durgle down!" And kind of falls backwards and crashes into the water, being kind of put out from the fire that you had lit Diane Durgle on, but she's still very much dying. She's not in great shape. Fire always does kind of kill people, but she's not completely dead. Anything else on your turn? Or are you gonna also kind of hang back and kind of play defense?
Yeah, I'm not very athletic. I must say back.
In that case, that moves us to the top of the initiative. The Durgles on either side of you, Tzi'jixk. You are there are both been downed. There's just obstacles before you now. What do you want to do?
And the one in front of me are 2 parallel bars descending at an angle, and there's another one that I have to grab and sort of ride down.
Yeah, like kind of resting it on top and kind of going in the middle of it. Does that description make sense to you?
So I'm gripping.
You're just holding
a
onto
bar
a bar and letting it slide down, using your arms to like prevent it from going off the rails. If you've ever seen American Ninja Warrior, they do this one all the time. Or they do like a similar thing where you have to like jump up and over, but this one's more of like a slide.
Okay, so it's really just like a test of my grip and maybe a little control,
grip strength and control for sure.
Okay, yeah, okay. So balance, but I'm not on top of something. I'm underneath it, trying to control it.
Yep.
Okay. Then I will. Let's see. How far do I have to ride this thing down?
It goes down into a little bit of a spiral as it kind of curves, and then lands you at the bottom of that big contraption moving up to where the button is.
Oh, okay. So there's like a target down a spiraling hole that I really have to reach.
Yeah.
Oh,
but the target's not necessarily at the center of the hole. You have to ride the spiral, and then it curves out, so you can't just drop down onto it.
Ah, gotcha. All right. Well then, what I can propose is either there's something like athletics. I could use acrobatics. However, back in the pasture, when Tzi'jixk was alive, the Bunnyfolk in that pasture and the Blossomer Florence used to play a game called Cornhole, and my Bunnyfolk was very, very good at this game. At tossing vegetable matter through a narrow space. Of course. So if you would allow for it, I could presumably use my game of choice to help guide my aim as I'm trying to spiral down and reach the bottom of this platform to then presumably climb up and hit the button. Otherwise, acrobatics or athletics is fine.
I will give it to you. So is this more of like would you say this is still probably dexterity plus proficiency though? Would you say you rely more on your intellect and your calculations for Cornhole, or would you say that it's more of just a feel thing with dexterity?
Dex, wisdom probably, because you're trying to sight the distance, so I have it. I can run.
Yeah, sure.
Game through Dex or Wiz, whichever you think is going to be more appropriate for this.
Go with Wisdom. Fine by me.
Meanwhile, the Durgles are just like, I can't believe I'm saying this. We should have never messed with the rabbit.
The Durgles really wanted that money. All right, yeah. So 16. And are you following the track as is, or are you trying to like subvert it and like hop off the side? Was what you were doing?
Well, I am a little bunnyfolk, so I would be more used to taking a direct method.
Okay.
I'd be fine if if it's going to bring me past danger or slow me down. I'd rather get to the end. I'm very kind of hyped up. This is giving me a little bit of flashbacks to the Trash King.
For sure. All right, so you begin kind of sliding down, and as you're going around the outside ring, you keep looking for this one point where you can kind of get off, and you kind of do a big kind of. It's less a jump than you're usually able to do because you don't have like the feet to kick off, but the angle is enough that you're able to kind of pull out right at the right time using the kind of like feel and like the momentum of the centripetal force moving around the spiral, and you fly outwards and down towards that point, and you land right on the precipice. This is extremely close. As your feet kind of catch and dangle, I need you to make me a dex save to avoid kind of falling off, but you have advantage because you're right on the line. Not quite as bad as what happened to Maglev before, but you have almost fallen off with that roll.
I have, or
yeah. So you landed down on the bottom, and you caught basically your feet right on the edge of the platform. So you were like about to fall backwards into the water, but you can make a dex save to kind of catch yourself.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I would like to
save with
use
advantage.
my inspiration for this, please.
You actually already had advantage. I had given you because you were right on the
I'm
threshold.
sorry.
Oh, no problem. And yeah, you crushed it anyway. Man, nice rolls on these last-minute deck saves, and you managed to kind of pull yourself upright, letting just the grip strength of your feet right you, and you're on the final vertical challenge, one that you're very used to. This is looking like above you. You can see just like, just jumping up. No, not a problem. So yeah, you're right on the threshold, and the Durgles recognize this as well. And you watch as Shirley Durgle, the leader of the Durgle clan, kind of looks over at you. That 20,000 copper is going to be ours! Not this week. We can't win it now, but next week is going to be ours! And she kind of rushes along the scaffolding and goes to throw a dagger at you. Kind of moving back from their defensive position at like the first obstacle, realizing that you're almost at the end already. And is going to throw a dagger at you. Tzi'jixk, I assume a 7 is not going to do it?
Correct. That'll just sort of, I guess, wobble in the ground next to me. I'll pick it up if I can.
At the start of your turn, it kind of like, it's just kind of landed on the ground loosely after it hit a pole. And then Marty Durgle is going to look over at you, Stelinar. Oh, excuse me, who has been firing arrows at his clan, and he doesn't like it. And at this point, he's just mad now. It's no longer a game show. This is just a fight for him, it looks like, as he throws a dagger your way. That's going to be 22 to hit and 4 piercing damage. I assume the 22 definitely hits.
Yeah. I'm not too sure, man. I'm not too sure. Just let me do some quick maths. Okay.
When you're finished tallying it up, if it does hit, that's going to be 4 piercing damage as the dagger catches you right kind of around the ribs. But it's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yep.
I'm going to flip and fire back.
Fair enough. Go ahead and fire away.
Screw that guy.
Oh, no. This time, unfortunately, the arrow just flies a little bit wide.
Wait, so we have inspiration.
Wait, what?
Do we have inspiration?
Oh no, he does from a previous thing.
Okay, I was like, whoa, wait, what?
No. And so yeah, you this Durgle ducks to the side. It's a Durgle duck, and the longbow shot fires a little bit wide. You're gonna stay at the beginning and just kind of continue to hold down the fort.
Do I actually? Is there any cover around me, or is it like literally just wide open, flipping space?
You can like duck back to the podium.
Does that disqualify me, or is am I still good?
Well, you're allowed to defend even if you're disqualified. He didn't message. Like basically, you just said that you're disqualified if you go on the scaffolding in the water. So you assume you're good. He probably didn't think that you guys were gonna use the podium as cover.
No, I'm gonna use the podium as cover.
All right, you do it. Yeah, he doesn't say anything. Steve Harvey has the entire time been kind of commentating and getting very kind of excited. There's been lots of oohs and ahs from the crowd. We are moving on to Maglev.
All right, question. How far apart is the Marty and Shirley?
They are now pretty far apart. Shirley took her whole turn to run along the scaffolding to try and catch up with Tzi'jixk, so they're like a little bit even over 30 feet apart at this point.
All right, so that won't work. So I am gonna, yeah, I'm gonna target Shirley.
All right.
Yeah, wait.
Shirley
Is
Durgle?
is she within 120 feet?
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, how far is it from where I am to the next stage?
Oh yeah, because you're like hanging onto the side of the thing. So you need to climb up back on top of it. So basically, you're basically prone right now. So it's half your movement to kind of move up on top of the thing. To move to the next segment is about. It's basically one move action, so like one jump. So you could make it to the next one. You'll just have to make an acrobatics or athletics check.
Could I also use, since I'm actually planning on casting Chaos Fist again, could I use the Tempest Magic again?
Oh yeah, you can just get there for free with the Tempest Magic.
Alright, I do that.
Alright, fire away.
I like how this has suddenly turned into a Zura's Wrath.
Unfortunately, the 9 is not gonna get you there, as this time the Chaos Fist flies past, and Shirley, kind of ducks down and says, "You'll have to do better than that to take 20,000 copper from a Durgle."
We will see!
But you kind of float down right next to her, and you're face to face with Shirley. As we move now onto Dingleheimmel's turn.
So Shirley's right next to Maglev.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna scare the shit out of him. Like, oh, you think you're. Oh, hold up. You think I can do better than that? Watch this! Hex Tech Micro Missiles activate! Missile barrage incoming. 3, 1, 2, 3, all at Shirley.
Shirley gets hit for, that automatically hits, and that is a total of 9 damage. You watch as these missiles kind of curse directly, like moving in perfect kind of aim, like around even your shoulders, Maglev, as they all kind of impact and just have tiny magical explosions as they hit Shirley, who just kind of goes, "Ooh, ah, ooh," and also falls backward into the water down. They only have 8 hit points apiece.
I like to turn to, Dingleheimmel goes, "Thank you, Grandpa!"
No problemo!
And only
And
Marty
that's
Durgle remains, and Marty Durgle is very far away from you. Tzi'jixk. I'm having such a hard time with names. Tzi'jixk. There we go. We got it in 4.
It is an awkward thing to pronounce for people who don't have our teeth.
Of course. Tzi'jixk, the turn is yours. There's just an array of rings and kind of contraptions and crossbars, and it's all just like this really elaborate maze of vertical climbing things that I assume you ignore.
Yeah, I'd just like to jump up there, please.
Yep. I will need you to make me. This is going to be another dex save, though.
Can I use my inspiration on this?
Yes, you can.
Steve Harvey right now is probably like, we probably should have made more difficult traps for people with magic.
You're damn lucky.
It's designed for peasants, and you guys were like special celebrity guests with the adventurers. So this time with your 21 dex save, as you just kind of whoop, you just kind of bunny hop your way up. Another one of those kind of like boxing glove traps goes to like hit you and knock you off, but you kind of remembered Dingleheimmel like noticing the location before in a moment of inspiration, and right at the last second just kind of adjust your fly angle, and it just completely whips past you. And with 2 more hops, you arrive right at the button. And unfortunately, there's a small couple of steps beforehand, and it's your full turn to get to the top. Which means that the Durgles will have one more shot. And Marty Durgle looks over across the way and looks up at you in the distant kind of maze and realizes he has no way of doing anything about you up there, and just throws another dagger. Just throws another dagger, this time at you, Dingleheimmel, who just basically killed his mom.
He rolls a nat 20 and wins.
Just that stab was so impressive. Oh, and I assume 7 misses?
Yeah, nice try, sir.
And with that, your collective victory is inevitable. On your next turn, Tzi'jixk, you are able to go up and hit the button. So how do you guys finish off the remaining Durgle? Or do you just kind of tell him to give up?
I think I'll do it. Like, I'll probably. How far is he from my current position?
He's on the scaffolding, so you can just like basically jump down to the scaffolding and go to get him.
Hey, is this the guy who...
I just want to know how far he is.
This is the one that shot you specifically, Stelinar.
Oh, I'm shooting him.
All right, yeah. Everyone, go ahead and just make me your attack roll. Oh no! Oh no!
Disintegrate! Oh my god!
As Marty Durgle is utterly eviscerated and moved from this material plane, Tzi'jixk, you walk over and are able to press the button. Is there any flair? Do you make any kind of statement or anything as you do it, or is it just efficiency?
Yes. So I'm going to walk a couple steps up. I'm going to boop it with my nose. And when I turn around to share the victory of our team and the camaraderie and the joy of working together, I'm going to turn around in horror as my party completely murders this halfling. And as a TV camera slowly zooms in on my face like Pikachu, as I'm just witnessing this.
The surprise Pikachu face, yes.
But like you like go, oh guys, we won, and like to the back, flipping die.
Yeah, and you turn around and you see this horrible, horrible thing, and then right as you hear the button, right as you're looking at this, you hear the happy game show music kind of kick in as you watch this Durgle get murdered. Confetti rains down, and that big kind of glass jar of copper that you saw above begins to rumble and shake, and then the copper begins to just kind of explode outwards and up, and also rain down in increments like confetti alongside of you as they just kind of like pour the prize onto the stage. And Steve Harvey kind of cheers, "The Bartholomew family wins! Congratulations all! This has been another wonderful game of Family Feudal. I'm your host, Steve Harvey, and thank you all so much for tuning in." And the audience once again kind of applauds and cheers, and the money just kind of like rains down. It doesn't seem the most efficient kind of way of delivering this copper to you. A lot of it like falls into the water. Some of it like hits you. It looks like this is a bug in the system they haven't worked out yet, but it's definitely satisfying.
I will simply cast a mage hand to help me catch a lot of it.
Yeah, you catch a lot of it, and with that, all of you have successfully completed this particular adventure. Eventually you meet up with Bartholomew. He gives you your 100 Bartholomew bucks, and each of you gain 1 point of experience, which means since all of you are level 1, all of you are now level 2. Congratulations, you guys!
Getting stabbed gave me magic.
Indeed.
Oh!
Yes, indeed. More knowledge to be gained.
Indeed. And Jeremy, are you here?
Hey, of course I'm here. Plus, don't forget, folks, you've also earned your fair share of 20,000 copper.
That's true. I think that works out to 50 gold apiece. If you would like, it.
Yeah, Maglev.
That sounds way better when it's copper.
Yep.
Is there like a flipping is there a bank we can exchange this at?
That will happen off screen. You can write 50 gold if you want.
Well,
Thank God.